Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for being here today and sticking around for our closing keynote. It's my privilege to introduce Jeanette Manfra. So Jeanette is the Assistant Secretary of Homeland Security for Cybersecurity and Communications. That means that she is the highest up person in the United States government who only works on defense in cybersecurity. And she has been a really good ally of those of us in the private sector, especially those of us who care a lot about the upcoming elections and what we need to do to secure them. And it is wonderful to see our government investing in that area and having somebody like Jeanette who actually knows what she's talking about for us to work with and to coordinate with. Before that, Jeanette worked in the White House in the Obama administration and National Security Council. She's had a variety of positions in DHS. She was a military intelligence officer in the US Army, and I just found out a Girl Scout, which takes you on that whole arc. And so we're really happy to have Jeanette here. Let's give her a warm welcome. Thank you for coming, Jeff.
I feel like I'm about to have a recital with this. So I have to apologize first. We've had all this cool sort of informal interaction, and I'm all dressed up and using a podium like a typical government speaker. But I spent a lot of time thinking about what I wanted to talk about here. And for me, I can give kind of a cybersecurity talk off the cuff, talk to everybody about all these cool policy things that we're trying to do. But I decided that I wanted to give a speech about being a woman. And so you'll have to forgive me because I've actually never done that before. And so I wanted to make sure to really focus on, and for those of you who are not women, I apologize. Better luck next life. But try again. But I do hope that some of these thoughts will be relevant to all of you. So with that, let me just talk a little bit about at least my best advice for what it's like having spent my now entire career in very male-dominated organizations. But before I start, I really want to thank you guys for pulling this conference together. It's such short notice. It's really amazing. It would probably take my organization 6 months just to find out where we would have the conference, much less actually invite anybody to it. And for those of you who came and participated, I got to hear some of the previous talks, and there's just really some amazing people that some of them I've heard of, some of them I haven't. I'm going to start following you on Twitter. We got Twitter accounts, by the way. We're very excited at NPPD_Manfra. Also, DHS actually has the @cyber handle. Didn't know that. We didn't use it very much. So we're working on the whatchamacallit, the picture. It's a little lame right now. So really just want to thank you all. Thank you for having us. Thank you for the presenters. Y'all are such role models. Your level of competence is just amazing. And so let's talk a little bit about what I'd like to call the mothers of invention. Modern technology, think about it. It stands on the shoulder of giants, and many of those shoulders are female. We must all recognize that women are not immigrants to technology, but co-founders and fellow pioneers. Ada Lovelace defined the first algorithm before computers were invented. Joan Murray led teams at Bletchley Park in cracking codes in World War II. Admiral Grace Hopper helped design COBOL. My own great-aunt actually wrote some of the first programs for the Navy and went on to become a leader at IBM. This list is just the tip of the iceberg of these mothers of invention. But currently, women only occupy 11% of total cybersecurity positions in the United States. In a world where there's a critical gap for cybersecurity talent, this is not good enough. We need to do better, and we will do better. We cannot provide for the long-term stability and security of cyberspace if we are not leveraging all of our available talent. More importantly, we can't honor the legacy of the brilliant women that have come before us. In World War II, many women filled in as factory workers to augment industry for the war effort. We face a similar gap today, but the challenge will not end with the signing of a peace treaty. This is an enduring mission. We need more women in this space to fill a talent gap we have now and continue to fill it in the future. That means our work here is never done. While our legacy as pioneers and founders in this space can never be taken away from us, it can be hidden or left unexamined. I am proud to see a surge in popular culture that explores the rich history of women in tech and brings it forward for public awareness. It is reassuring to see the contribution of these hidden figures recognized. I'm also proud to see events like OURSA and others, which give women and others a platform to learn from one another, take stock of our progress, and understand the challenges that many of us still face. I'm also proud to stand here and say that my employer, the Department of Homeland Security, has continued to honor our shared legacy. In my position as Assistant Secretary, I follow in the footsteps of Suzanne Spalding, who's a former Undersecretary for my organization, Dr. Phyllis Schneck, who's a former Deputy Undersecretary for Cyber, and our current Secretary, Kirsten Nielsen. In my time at Department of Homeland Security, which has been about 10 years now, I've served in a number of positions. As Alex mentioned, I was in the National Security Council. I was the previous secretary's cyber counselor, and a variety of other things going from back in 2007 when we actually started this organization. And I joke, we were still arguing about whether cybersecurity was one word or two words. The one word won out against my better judgment. It's not one word, sorry. It's just not. And, but I've seen a tremendous amount in the time that I've been there. It was, in the beginning, nobody paid attention to us. We were just sort of these nerds kind of talking about like doom and gloom security scenarios. And turns out most people don't understand how the internet works, and they don't actually really want to, I think. And so my own path has been fascinating because I was there when I was in the White House when Sony happened. I worked on OPM, been in sort of the negotiations with the Chinese and some of the challenges that we've had with them and the progress that we're trying to make with them. And I've seen the government really struggle with a lot of complicated questions. And I think we're getting better. I think we're recognizing the balance and the trade-offs that we have to make, but we're continuing to work through that. I know companies are continuing to address these challenges. And but the one thing that I have learned is that I have to continue to take risks, and I have to continue to lean forward, and I have to continue to be a strong voice. And we believe that we, as Alex said, we're the advocates for the defense. We're the advocates for the critical infrastructure community, the private sector, those that may not have a voice in the policymaking process. And so that's one of the reasons we encourage so many to work with us, because the better that we understand what the private sector needs, what they're struggling with, what potential consequences they could face if the government takes certain actions, the better advocate we can be within that process. So other women in this career field have had similar paths, building a diversity of experiences and personal relationships on the way. But there is no right way forward. Each position has given me new experience, learning opportunities. I've changed so much in terms of what I thought we should be doing in cybersecurity 10 years ago to what I think now, all based off of these different experiences that I've had. And every single one of those choices to take a new job was stressful, but I decided to do it and lean forward, and I really believe it's made me a better person and frankly, a better leader and advocate. So I want to talk about some specific lessons that I'd like to offer that I believe have served me well, and I hope will serve you all, particularly for those of you who are a little bit younger in your career. I still haven't admitted the fact that I'm older than I think I am, but I'm working on it. So first, focus on the work and being competent in the work, even if it means doing it for free. Or less than you'd like to make, in my case. At the end of the day, what matters most is the work and the recognition that you're competent in that work. It's not to say that there are no other factors that can undermine what we do or how we advance, but our work often meets extra scrutiny and the glare of skeptical eyes. But where we may see a hurdle, we should also see opportunity. Skeptical eyes force us to be creative, to be bold, and to ensure the work we do is unparalleled and beyond reproach. It prepares us to work effectively, quickly, as a team, and with a mind to communicate our thoughts and rationale. These are all traits of effective leadership. We should also recognize that the advantages inherent in volunteering or simply doing the work. There are a lot of jobs, as I said, that I took that I wasn't sure it was exactly the right career step for me. But I saw an opportunity, and I saw an opportunity, frankly, to fix something that was broken. There's no shortage of good ideas in tech. No shortage. And there's a shortage of those, I believe, that are willing to follow through on those good ideas. This is risky. An initiative could lead to nowhere, receive no buy-in, and often there's no guarantees for credit or for advancement, or frankly, somebody else may get the credit and the advancement. Build your trust groups and confidants. None of us can know everything, nor should we. Much of what we do is a team effort. We talk a lot about this concept that we've been talking with folks about collective defense. My risk is your risk. Thinking about cyber as a global digital public health crisis, and thinking about how we have managed those sorts of scenarios and applying that. And the only way that we can be successful is by doing it together. But I believe that the only way you can individually be successful in this space is to have these groups of trust. People that'll tell you, you cannot be an expert in everything. I went to MOG a couple months ago, I guess, because we did some work on DMARC, and I realized how little I know about email very quickly. But you just by being able to have trusted people who will advise you, tell you where you're going and where you probably need to shift. We can augment our decision-making power and expertise by building these personal and professional trust groups. I hate the term networking because that sounds like mocktails and cocktails and all of that other stuff. And there's a lot of networking, by the way, going on down at Moscone Center. A lot. And I think it's really just an excuse for people to have those cocktails. It really needs, or frankly, try to sell a product or trying to get your next job. I'd rather it be about relationship building. As our careers progress, many of us are thrust into roles where our scope of responsibility can exceed our own personal areas of expertise. I've personally been there many times. In technology, cybersecurity, the situation is compounded by complex interdisciplinary problems that often require quick and decisive action. As we advance throughout our careers, we have an untold number of opportunities to build relationships with those whose expertise and insight complement our own. Maintaining and strengthening those relationships over time make us all better and serves all of us well as we face new challenges. Take risks as if you had nothing to lose. And you probably have a lot to lose, especially as you get older and have kids. But we have to continue to take risks. As we continue in our careers, there is a distinct tendency to take fewer and fewer risks, to temper the bold and creative ideas that had initially propelled us forward when we were young and frankly didn't know any better. There's an argument for this approach in other industries, but not for technology. We stand on a ground of shifting sand. We must constantly move forward, never look back, and evolve to adapt to our environment and the threats we face. We should never suffer the innovator's dilemma. More importantly, we need to recognize that we, as women, bring a unique perspective, ideas that are fresh and new. We must lean in on this as a natural strength and as a critical contribution to industry. What's wonderful about technology and cybersecurity industries is that it creates an environment that is prone to competition, internal and external. I said it was wonderful. It's not always pleasant, but it is the cool thing about it. A bold idea begets other bold ideas, and bold action in turn also creates bold action. I have found oftentimes that simply moving forward with initiative can set off a series of events that direct this natural competitiveness towards constructive ends and quick action. You spend a lot of time in the government talking about problems, thinking about problems. My opinion, we don't spend enough time fixing those problems. And so my tactic has been, even if I don't have full authority, you just launch something and say, here's a plan to tackle this problem. What do you all think? Now, the quickest thing everybody will realize is, hey, that's my job. And so they'll start to quickly figure out a better way to do it, which is fine. It's what I wanted them to do. But now suddenly, a variety of initiatives, some of them that have been public, some of them that haven't, we've got people moving just by saying, you know what, there's a problem, and I'm not just going to talk about it. I'm going to offer a plan. And frankly, I'm going to be very aggressive. My mom kindly calls it tenacious. It's probably obnoxious, but you just keep focusing on actual tangible actions and offering solutions, but also being willing to take the feedback when others have better ideas for you. So this means putting ourselves out there. It's not always easy. It means taking decisive action. It means being bold. It also means, most importantly, weighing our decisions towards disruption rather than the status quo. I believe we must be fearless. I'd like to remind you all, before I finish, we're not newcomers. We're not strangers in a strange land. We're coming home to continue the work of the brilliant women who came before us. This means we need to change our view of what our place in technology is. We must see ourselves as fulfilling a legacy and not merely making up for lost time. We shoulder a mantle of responsibility to find talent in ourselves, our daughters, and our sisters, and pave the way for them to share in the great work that we do. The future of our technology and how it changes the very world we live will be written and defined by our efforts to do so. I know this is a heavy mantle, but I take it seriously, and I believe you should too. And there's little doubt we will often face an uphill battle, but we will do what we always do. We will pick up a shovel, we will focus on the work, and we will get it done. Thank you.